Hey, it's been quite a bit, but I wanted to talk today about the feeling of not being able to try as hard as you want, or rather being afraid of trying very hard to do things. Now, forgive me because I haven't written and scripted out this thing I'm going to talk about, but I have a pretty good idea what I wanted to tell you guys today. I've had this feeling over the past few weeks that I am super duper afraid to try hard to do things, which sounds weird. Like, you should always try your best and try hard, and you know, whatever happens, just move forward with life and hopefully progress in all the areas you want to, right? But my issue is that I feel like if I try extremely hard at everything and all the things that I want to do, that I'm going to burn out or I'm going to spiral and everything is going to end up in flames. And let me explain that a bit. I've had, so many times where I've wanted to get myself to improve at something, where I will put in as much effort as possible, stay up super duper late, leave no room for error, very, very strict, work my hardest. And I find that after all is said and done, I feel really exhausted. And if I don't feel exhausted, I fail or I don't do things the way I want to. And because I have such a poor relationship with failure, or I've built one over the past few years, it's like I find myself, burning out. You've heard this term, maybe. Burning out is kind of when you've exhausted yourself and you don't feel like you're able to get yourself back together, right? You're somebody working, 7 days a week, your regular job, come home, you work something else. There's just work, 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 and you can't mentally pull yourself together. And that's where you go from like that burnout phase of just that exhaustion of feeling like you can't do it anymore into like a downward spiral. I'm not saying this is everybody. I'm just saying that this is kind of just what happens to me. And I know that there's other people who feel the same. And when I say downward spiral, I'm talking about like consistently from that point onwards making very poor choices. You promise yourself you never eat junk food. Now you're eating all the junk food, right? You're spiraling. You're doing every negative thing. Maybe you don't want to smoke weed or do drugs, and now you're doing all the drugs. You're drinking all the alcohol. You're wasting all of your time. You're spiraling. You're no longer doing the things you want, and on top of that, you're adding other things to it, right? And maybe during this period of time, you're very upset with yourself. You're very unhappy. Maybe you're the kind of person who secludes themselves. You become less social, less talkative because you're just anxious and you're upset at yourself and you have all these negative feelings and emotions. And overall, it's just a very negative place to be that destroys you bit by bit, right? And that shit's fucking scary, right? Because it's like you're like, when is this going to stop? I don't know how long I'm gonna be here in this place. It's not a physical place, but it's like a mental mindscape you're in, and that fear is interesting to me because it's like, okay, well, you're afraid of being there. Well, why don't you just get out? Why don't you just get up and make the next move? Why don't you just do something positive? Why don't you analyze that failure, analyze your burnout or whatever caused you to get there and then move forward, right? Why not? Well, you're afraid that the next choice that you make, at least in my opinion, is gonna be the wrong one, right? You're gonna end up back there again and you don't want to. And for a lot of people who have been in a vicious cycle of repeating the same bad behaviors, doing the same things that they don't want to do, I feel like this probably resonates to you, right? Maybe not now, but maybe later. Because if you're somebody constantly going through this over and over and over and over and over, you're gonna identify that repetition. You're going to make a judgment about it. Either maybe the things that happen to you, or the behaviors that you're doing are related to who you are as a person, to your personality, and well, in that case, you can't really see any forward momentum in life. You can't change if you say, okay, well, me doing drugs and all this is just my personality. I'm just a person who does drugs. Okay, well, you're cooked. Or you go like, damn, like I can't really seem to figure it out. So maybe I need to stop going so hard, right? Like you develop this mindset of, I don't want to get myself to the point where I can no longer mentally cope, because you don't know how to mentally cope. There's no willingness at that point to want to try something else because you just don't want to fuck yourself over. And I think the older you get, the more responsibilities you get, the more it is to sink into that comfortability of like, I want to find a spot where I can be comfortable and I can function just enough. I am afraid to push too hard in any one direction, right? Because if you identify yourself as somebody who has some sort of either mental instability or inability to cope with, high amounts of stress, adding more stress to your life seems like the most crazy thing you could ever do, right? And if you're smart enough, you know that, well, yeah, added stress is not necessarily a bad thing. But when you reach a point at which you no longer know how to deal with it, I mean, then what else are you supposed to do, right? And that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about, because I find nowadays I don't push myself as hard because I'm like, what the heck else would I do if I'm confronted with the same, mental challenges and struggles, to be consistent, to work hard, to do what I need to do, and I've heard a lot of different answers to that. Some people will be like, well, Jane, you're just overthinking it. You're overthinking it. Just get started again. Just get started over. And yeah, I think that's pretty good advice. But you have to want to accept that advice of like, hey, you're overthinking this. Just get started again. Just restart. But if you're somebody who overthinks, you're just gonna be like, well, shit, like it would be nice to start again, but how the heck did I end up in this place? How am I in a downward spiral? How am I doing all of these things when I know they're bad for me? And a part of you kind of feels dumb, right? You feel like, why did I make this mistake even though I know I shouldn't have made this mistake? And you kind of get tired of yourself, right? And for me right now, when I'm looking at my life, I'm thinking, okay, there are particular things that I need to do for me that make the most sense, and it, technically speaking, does not make sense for me to half-ass life, really. That's what it comes down to, half-assing things, making things easier so I feel that I can handle it, right? It doesn't make sense. It feels very bad. And I wanted to, summon the internet's opinion on this. Are you the kind of person who likes going all out at something, you're all or nothing kind of a mentality? You want to go all in on something? Or are you somebody who's comfortable with building good habits, steady habits, day by day, very, very slowly? That's kind of like another subtopic of this, really. Like, if you're aiming towards a goal, how do you approach it? Because I've tried this like very, very slow, methodical approach, and it feels bad. I am improving slowly, right? But when I look at my own life and I look at where I want to be and when I want to be there, it's like too slow, right? So, yeah. I was going to end the video just then, but I'm still thinking, because this is something, guys, that is really, really tormenting me, right? How can I find ways to be more efficient with, my time and what I want to do without feeling like I'm stuck in this state of just anxiety? It's just this anxious feeling, guys. It's this feeling of I should be doing something else right now. I'll give you an example to make it maybe a little bit more relatable to you, less abstract. I might get up during a day and I might say like, hey, I am going to do this task for 1 hour and this task for 1 hour and this task for 1 hour, and the rest of your day is technically free to do whatever you want. Like, I'll tell myself that, which is weird because that's not normally who I am and what I do. I front load my whole day with a bunch of tasks to do everything, right? But then I said, okay, what are the main things you need to do? Do these things. Then after that, you can do what you want if you want to. And saying it out loud again makes me, I just feel like such a baby, like why is it so hard for me to stay focused? Is what I'm asking, right? But the answer really is just, the answer for me is that I feel very exhausted easily when I'm confronted with certain challenges. When I feel that I can't overcome something, I don't always find the mental resource to move forward. And a big part of the reason that upsets me is that I see people who are just seemingly able to just get over shit. I think that it's kind of like now or never. Like, I got to make good choices now. Why wait? Anyway, there is no real direction for this. I just wanted to talk to you guys about, those particular things that were going on in my mind. If you have these kinds of thoughts about anything that I've mentioned, comment down below. Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, peace. Take care. Bye.